Okay, so it's Thursday, January the 9th, 2025, and it's about 3:30, almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon in central Indiana. And I just got off the phone with my QuickBooks rep, in our normal meetings that we have to make sure that my books and everything is entered correctly. And I've got yet another problem with QuickBooks. So if you run QuickBooks and you see this, or if you don't see it, look into this so that way you don't get stung. But essentially what it is every time I send out an invoice to somebody, there are a certain amount of payment methods that I can click so that the customer, upon receipt of the email, may choose to use a link from QuickBooks, and when I send them the bill, for them to pay online. These include credit cards, EFT transfers from their bank, PayPal, for example. Okay, sometime over the past month, I want to be fair and say maybe month and a half, since my Lawncare season stopped around the end of November, a new feature was added that aggravates me and makes me feel like they've taken advantage of me behind my back. And here's what it is. Now, a client has the ability to make a payment through an ACH transfer from their bank when they receive the invoice. And for me to get it, it's 5 to 7 days. I think that the note that I found was 7 days. So they make the payment today. Let's say, just for example, I send out the invoice today. They make the payment today. I don't get the money in my account for 7 days. Whereas if they paid it with a credit card, I get it as soon as tomorrow, depending on what time of the day they made the payment. That doesn't make any sense to me. But in addition to that, what I also found out today is there's an option when I go into QuickBooks that I can get my money sooner if I pay QuickBooks a fee for them, and they'll deposit sooner. So what they're trying to do is get their hands as a third party as much as they can into my account. So generally what I do, I send out my invoice to my clients and I turn off the credit card payment. I turn off the EFT payment unless they're out of state, for example. And I ask them to pay me via Zelle. Or they're going to pay me via check, but I sent them the invoice. They'll set a check out. I drive by and I pick up their payment. QuickBooks is eliminating that. I received no notice. My rep today that helps me with bookkeeping says, well, there's a note that they sent out a notice. No, they did. They might have. I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. Guess what else they do? QuickBooks is automatically applying sales tax for the state when the system automatically applies a late fee to an invoice because the client hadn't paid it on time. Now, we have it set up for QuickBooks to automatically apply the late fee when it's not received. But there's no option in there to turn off the sales tax, despite the fact that my account is set up for non-taxing. We don't collect sales tax from clients. So when they're adding this late fee and then automatically sending out the reminder to the client is potentially paying, a sales tax on a $30 late fee. These things add up over the course of time that just create more work that's not necessary. I could go on, there's a whole host of other issues that come up here or there. And I don't like the way I find out about it. I should have found out first. And how this worked is I just did an invoice for a client that we did service on a snowstorm. And their total invoice from a couple of days ago, the work that we did, was $2,000. I sent them the invoice and almost immediately I get an email saying that they paid it. I'm like, wait a minute, what? That doesn't make any sense to me. And I couldn't figure it out. Well, I found out today what it was. Now, when I go in to look at deposits that are scheduled into my account, there's one particular deposit for like $2,800, but it's not until the 15th of January. But I can't look within that deposit yet. I can't see what the transaction details, what the payments are. So I have no hardcore evidence that it's A, B, and C, and D client. I do know, though, because of the payment that I received, the notification that $2,000 of that comes from the invoice that I sent out or I discussed a minute ago. So I deduced that. That's what it will say. But this stuff is frustrating. I had no notice. So what it looks like is I was hamstrung by QuickBooks. It looks like to me that they added a new feature for clients to be able to pay by ACH. And what it works is on their end, if the client decides to pay with ACH, they pay the fee on their end. Okay, so they make the payment, and then on my end, I have to wait 7 days. As I mentioned, they have a feature where I can go get my monies right away or sooner, but I got to pay for it. I would have just preferred, in fact, for something like this, a meeting with my bookkeeper. Hey, we've made this change. By the way, you can or you can't turn it off. We looked around at it earlier We didn't find a place to be able to turn it off. It might be able to be turned off. So to be fair, I'm not saying that it can't. We looked around. I'm going to research some more this afternoon because I have the free time. But you got to watch what they're doing, okay? The system, there are issues that can be completely avoidable, which is why, I mean, it frustrates the snot out of me. I'm paying QuickBooks for them, for the bookkeeping to handle all this, and I'm doing so much of it. That said, my bookkeepers have been great. My bookkeeper, Jim, I love him. The one that filled in for him a while, Abigail, I actually love her. I mean, I love them both, but Abigail was really on top of it. I'm not saying my Jim guy wasn't on top of it, because I like him too. I'm just stating. QuickBooks has been making some changes. They don't even know about them when I talk with them about it. They're looking it up. They don't even know about it. So the program, I don't know if it's getting too big, or what it is. I just don't honestly know. I can only speculate. I can just tell you that I can't stand when people play with my money. Don't play with my money, because if a client is close and has a check for $2,000, I might want to go pick that up right away versus waiting 7 days to receive it. It's not fair. QuickBooks, come on, do better than that.